Hello, how are you doing? And welcome to RossonARI TV. Today, what we're going to do, we're going to go through the tier maker website, and we're going to judge each AC Milan player of the season 2021, specifically the second half of the season, post winter transfer market. And so here we go. We have these categories: elite being top, clutch being just below top, key being a player like a role player, decent being a player that, did what he could, but could have done more, missing in action, player that we just did not see, that did not perform. So let's get right into it and let's judge this team that, remember, did achieve its objective by Forza Milan. So let's start right away. All right. So we're going to go in order here with what we have. No particular order, no organization. This is what I thought. First one in line is Ibrahimovic. Of course, we have to put Ibrahimovic as either clutch or elite. It's one of the two. I would say elite, not necessarily because of what he did on the pitch, because he was MIA for half the season, really. But his influence on the team is so big, and he can really change a locker room from bronze to gold. So let's definitely put Mr. Ibrahimovic on elite. Thank you, Mr. Ibra, for your services. 40 years, still going strong. Forza Ibra. Meite next. So Meite came in the second half of the season. He's a player that was not necessarily a first choice. He was very more as a backup. I have said this during the course of the season. Meite was the best second midfielder after Kessie, especially when you had a Bennacer that was in and out, a Tonali that was in and out. So Meite is either decent or key. I'm going to put Meite in key because not because he's such a great player, but because he was key in many ways, having Bennacer out of that entire first half of the second half of the season. Tonali didn't have the impact we wanted it to have. Meite, being an older, more experienced player, had a period where he settled in and he did really well. So he was a key component of AC Milan in achieving its objective. Antonio Donnarumma. Well, we have to put him in missing in action. We barely saw it. All right. Calhanoglu. What can we say about Calhanoglu? Calhanoglu being one of the players that finished with I think he was in the top 5 as far as assists. He was very clutch in the last few games. I know a lot of you disagree with me. Well, screw you, I don't care. I think it is right to put in Calhanoglu as a clutch player because he was been very important for the team throughout the whole season. And I'm going to give him clutch. Rebic, a player also, again, that this season has been missing in action a lot. He didn't really do as much as we would have liked him to see. This is a player that should have more than 10 goals per season, more than 10 assists per season. I would have liked to see more from Rebic. I think this season, Rebic kind of underperformed, so I'm going to put him in key. He was key when he came in, but was he a clutch player? Sometimes he was clutch. Overall, no, he was not. Il Capitano Romagnoli. Now, obviously, I can't put him either elite or clutch. He's either key or decent. So, key, why? Because the first half of the season, he was the captain of that unbeatable team, all the way up until where he lost form and then he just became MIA. I would say because of that very negative ending of the season he had, we can put him in the third tier as a key player for the first half of the season, which was very important because that's where we won the top 4 in the first half of the season. The second half of the season, we kind of almost messed it up. So I think it is right to say that he was a key player. All right. Krunic. Is that Krunic? Yes, that is Krunic. Wow. Krunic. I think Krunic is a player that came in and he was like a patch-up player. I don't think he was a key player. I don't think he was a clutch player, and I don't think he was elite. He wasn't MIA. He had a few blunders here and there. When the team performed badly, he was awful. I think because Milan essentially achieved its objective this season, it's hard to really go negative on these players. Essentially, these players were successful. This season was a success for these players. So I'm going to put Krunic in as decent. He was decent. Calabria, il futuro capitano. I have to say Calabria was the heart and soul of this team. Calabria, what a player he's developing. I think maybe in the top 3 or top 2 best fullbacks in the Serie A right now. Calabria, to me, maybe because I'm biased, maybe because I love the guy, and maybe because to me this guy his blood is literally red and black. I have to give Calabria elite. This season Calabria was definitely elite. Frank Kessie, il presidente, in my opinion, the second best player of the Serie A. This is a no-brainer. He goes in elite as well, 100%. There's really not much to say about Kessie. He's been consistent every single game. Every time he's on the pitch, no matter who he's playing against, he plays the same way. Pressure doesn't affect this guy. This man is the future of AC Milan. This man is definitely an elite player. Let's move on to Castillejo. Obviously, Castillejo can either be decent or MIA. I don't think he was key. I don't think he was clutch. And I don't think he was elite. Castillejo had his moments, but Saelaemakers came in and took his spot, a youngster. So I think Castillejo this season was decent. Theo Hernandez. Now you are going to be like, what? Are you crazy? Theo Hernandez is either elite or clutch. Is he elite just yet? I say no. The reason why is because defensively, he made he was a mess at times, and that's part of his game that he needs to improve. And if he improves that part of his game, he is elite, and I think he will. And I think a lot of us see that he will, and he is on his way to becoming an elite player. But this season, if anything, clutch best describes this player, because how many times was he clutch for us? I give him somewhere between clutch and elite. I'm not going to give him elite. I'm going to give him clutch. A.Donnarumma. Wow. This player here. The child that abandoned us. We gave him everything. We gave him all the toys he wanted. We spoiled him, and then he decided to leave us. Donnarumma played almost every game of the season. He won MVP of the Serie A. So it's either clutch or elite. My personal opinion, I don't think Donnarumma is elite just yet. I think Donnarumma needs a few more seasons, and then he is on his way to becoming elite. Maybe I'm also a little bit biased because of what's happening in the transfer market. He did have some blunders that cost us. Well, at the end of the day, it didn't cost us anything because we came second. I mean, I don't think we could have won. The only better result was the Scudetto, and of course, that was a long shot, but came second. Man, this is a coin toss. Is he elite or clutch? Okay, let's see. Let's see what the coin says. Tails for elite, head for clutch. Tails elite, head clutch. Let's see. Up. Let's do that again. Boom. Ha. Tails. I said tails elite, heads clutch. Tails elite. I'm going to go with clutch. Clutch for Donnarumma. I think he just missed a little bit to be elite. Bennacer. player in the first half of the season was incredible. Was definitely one of the best midfielders in Italy. I considered him maybe even one of the best fielders. Looked like he was on his way to becoming one of the best midfielders in Europe. The way he was playing, so technical, so elegant, never lost the ball, very, very, spreading the ball with so much intelligence. But then he just went MIA the second half of the season. So I don't even put him in the clutch. I say Bennacer was key, and he falls in that third category. Gabbia, Mattia Gabbia. Mattia Gabbia, we saw him in the beginning of the season. He had a decent run, but then we kind of lost sight of him. I do think that Mattia Gabbia, if you give Mattia Gabbia a lot of minutes, a lot of games, he's in this category, either key or clutch. But because we didn't see pretty much any of him, especially second half of the season, we're going to put him in MIA, missing in action. All right, Mr. Dalot. Dalot had a very good season, I think, as a player on loan. He had more positive games than negative games. I think it was a very smart operation to bring him in as a second choice. Very good from the management here. I think Dalot. I think Dalot was decent. He had a decent, but he was more key than decent. But I'm gonna give him decent. I think he did really well. But I think he did better than Krunic and Castillejo. Well, but he's just a category in between decent and key. That's what I'll say. Brahim Diaz. This player I had a lot of faith in. I thought that in the beginning of the season, he was really good. I liked the way he played. The beginning of the season, I thought he was quite clutch, to be honest with you. But then he kind of went MIA as Pioli made his decisions, and then he lost ground in the locker room, kind of became a bench player. But then he came back at the end of the season with a vengeance and fire. And I think I wouldn't put him clutch, even though the last part of the season he was clutch. I wouldn't put him decent. I think he did a little bit more to deserve decent. I think he goes in the category of key. There you go. Rafael Leao, in my opinion, Pioli screwed up this season. Unfortunately, also because of players that weren't available, he was forced to play in the striker role, which he's not very good at now as a player. But I think he put him on the left wing. The guy's going to perform. The guy's going to create. The guy's is a menace. So because of the issues Milan had and the fact that Mandzukic was never available when Ibra was absent so much, I have to say that Leao's season was barely decent, even though he did have some good games here and there. All right, Hague started with a bang. The guy was on fire. In Europe, he was killing it, destroying the opposition. I don't know what happened to this player. Pioli just decided that he wasn't the right guy. He kind of lost ground to Leao, to Rebic. He was a player that was only used in that one position. I don't know what was going on in that training ground, but for some reason, Hague got lost in the mix, and he went pretty much MIA, even though he did have some clutch goals. But overall, you got to say that maybe not by his fault, this season, he was MIA. Saelaemakers. We get to Saelaemakers. Saelaemakers, one of the key players in the starting lineup of this whole season. Saelaemakers, youngster, came out of nowhere, Anderlecht from Belgium. He's there now, right now, at such a young age. He's one of the reserves for Belgium. I'm not sure if he made the national team. I don't know. We'll check. Surprise of the team. The number one surprise of the team. I have to put him in as clutch because he was there all the time. Every game, he was there doing the work. And he deserves a clutch, even though you would think that there are players in the key area like Rebic, like Bennacer, like Brahim that maybe are more impressive, more exciting. But Saelaemakers definitely had a great season this year. You can't really say he didn't. And if you think he had a poor season, then there's something wrong with you. Okay, Tonali. A player, a youngster came in. A lot of expectation from Tonali. No goals. I don't know if he had some assists. Not many games. Towards the end of the season, he went completely MIA. I got to give Tonali decent. He was decent this time around, but I have a lot of faith in this player. He needs time. He needs to grow. I think he's got the right mindset. He's one of maybe Italy's best midfielders in the future. So even though he gets a decent, I'm very, very, very happy with this player. Kalulu, a player that came in from France. He started off in the Primavera and then just kind of like got brought in the team as we were losing players, especially. When he did come in, he did very good. But most of the season it was MIA. You know, he's a backup player. He's a player there for the training grounds. He's still learning. I think it wouldn't be fair to put him MIA, even though Gabbia is MIA, and you could compare Gabbia's season to Kalulu. Kalulu did have a goal against Genoa. I think Kalulu was decent, and we can put it in the decent category. Daniel Maldini. Of course, we didn't see Daniel Maldini at all. This is a no-brainer. We can definitely put him in the MIA category. As a matter of fact, Daniel Maldini even got injured in the second half of the season. He was injured a lot of the time, and he didn't even see much of a training ground, but he was definitely MIA. He's one of the youngsters used as the last choice kind of thing. Mandzukic. I don't think anybody deserves the MIA more than Mandzukic. The poor guy came in, really struggled with form, struggled with fitness, did not do any of the things that the management hoped he would have done. And for most of the season, he was MIA. As a matter of fact, I think he didn't even accept his payments, and he just said, "Thank you, Milan. I appreciate the opportunity. Au revoir." And because essentially the deal was, if Milan gets into the Champions League, he was going to stay. But then because of the season went so poorly for him, he decided to leave. Both the club and the player decided that it was best to stop right there. Mr. Kjaer, the Danish captain, the Danish wall, the rock, the man amongst men, the man amongst boys that turns the boys into men. Kjaer this season been a consistent performer the whole season. I think it'd be crazy not to give him anything but elite for his performance during this season, and he goes in elite for me. Thank you, Kjaer. I really hope you continue your form. Tatarusano, player that didn't have to come in. Gigio, always healthy, never gets injured pretty much. But when he did come in, he did very good, actually. He had a very good game against Inter, and he had a good game against Torino, remember? I think he even scored a penalty. Tatarusano gets decent for me. Tomori, maybe the best purchase of the season, obviously of the winter season, maybe the best purchase of the entire season from the management. Tomori, I'm not going to give, it's either elite or clutch. I'm not going to give him elite because I think when he came in, he had to do some adjustments. He took Romagnoli's spot. Thank God Tomori was there because Romagnoli just lost form tragically in such a way. So, but even though Tomori did a few mistakes, I think he was quite clutch and he saved us a lot of times. He's on his way to being elite, but I put him as clutch for the second half of the season and his contribution. All right, so there you go, guys. That's my tier. Let me know what you guys think, if you disagree with some of my choices or if you agree with some of my choices. But here you go. Forza Milan, per sempre. We are the best, as always and forever. Faith and love to the red and black of Milano. Let me know, guys, what you think. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see you next time. Ciao.